What is the scoop with Scoot? That is the question that's raging through Rip City right now. The Portland Trailblazers worked out guard Scoot Henderson on Saturday in preparation for the NBA draft on June 22nd. Henderson is the number 3 rated prospect in the NBA draft, and the Blazers just happen to have the number 3 pick. But what will they do with it? I'm Aaron Fentress. I cover the Blazers for the Oregonian. And here on the Sports by Northwest podcast, I joined up with our columnist, Bill Oram, to ask that very question. What should the Blazers do? Trade the pick for a star to pair with Damian Lillard, or keep the pick, draft Scoot Henderson, and then maybe trade Lillard and then build around Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons? There's so many different ways the Blazers can go with this. Bill and I got into it a little bit because he's kind of on one side of the fence and I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. Anyway, take a listen and let us know what you think. On Saturday, Scoot Henderson, projected to be the number 2 pick or number 3 pick in the NBA draft, visited the Blazers facility and ruined my Saturday morning tea time. Thanks, Scoot. We got a chance to talk to him. Very effervescent personality. Very interesting young man. Totally opposite from Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe is very, very quiet. Is still learning how to express himself in front of the media. Scoot has zero problems in those areas. We're not allowed to watch the workout, but there's some videos out there that show that, all the athleticism that we already know exists from just watching G League Ignite highlight videos. But probably the more interesting thing that came out of the interviews was, he was asked, the Blazers are trying to build around Dame. Do you think you're someone who can come in and play right away next to Dame? How would that work? He expressed confidence in being able to do so. But as I wrote the other day, it's like I do not believe for a second that Dame believes that, because Dame doesn't want any more 19-year-olds on his team, let alone starting next to him or even coming off the bench at this point. So what do you think the possibilities are that they even end up with Scoot Henderson and via any scenario?
I think there's like a 35% chance. Okay. Because here are the scenarios. You trade the pick for, whatever frontline player that you're trying to trade the pick for. Obviously, he's not coming. But short of that deal being available by the draft, you probably have, an imperative to draft the best player left, and that's going to be Scoot. I understand positionally that doesn't work with Dame, and you have Ant. Could Scoot and Dame play together? Yes, I think they could. Do Scoot, Ant, and Dame work as a 3-guard sort of rotation? Probably less so.
There's no way Scoot would start. So Scoot's coming off the bench and he comes to the Blazers with Dame.
Well, it's just hard because
he's not beating out Sean.
I'm really concerned that the Blazers. We just don't know that, Aaron.
Yeah, we do. There's no way.
We just don't know that.
Scoot, we do.
Scoot is a man. Scoot is awesome. And to me, we don't know. We saw Shaedon play 12 games. Where he had 12 games. He
played all season.
Listen, because you're in love with him.
I'm
talking about the games where he
actually had the ball
in his hands and he was actually allowed to make mistakes.
I'm in love with Ant. But I think Shaedon's a guaranteed star. There's no way Scoot Henderson comes here and beats out Shaedon Sharpe. Not even remotely a possibility. But let's move on.
Scoot Henderson is more developed physically, is a better distributor, has a better defender than maybe anybody the Blazers had in the backcourt last year. So there's just a lot to like about Scoot Henderson, and I get trading the pick, I get everything. I understand trying to build around Dame. I think in 10 years we could be looking at the Blazers not drafting Scoot Henderson as a franchise-altering mistake. I think he's going to be really freaking good, and I don't know. Chances that they end up with Scoot probably fairly low, right? But I think that drafting Scoot Henderson and finding a way to make it work with Scoot is a really, really solid outcome.
Okay.
But I understand how it complicates it with Dame. I understand how it complicates it. The other scenario here that I would throw out there is that you can draft him and trade him. If you draft him sign him to his contract, and then wait a month. You can trade him in August and then use the value of his contract in a trade, an outgoing trade. So there are other mechanisms short of just trading the pick before the draft or on draft night where something could potentially, end up coming to fruition. Or you go into the season with Scoot and he balls out and then you trade him, as a rookie. Or, I don't know. I mean, like there's not great options here short of trading the pick for, Jaylen Brown. And if you're doing that, then great, you're fine. Nobody's gonna argue with that decision. But I think Scoot Henderson is going to be an absolute baller, and I am already a little bit sad that he is being seen as so disposable, or the potential of him being here is seen as so disposable by most people who look at this team.
Okay, there are so many layers to this.
Henderson, Shaden Sharp, like backcourt. A Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson backcourt for the next 10 years is awesome. Is just awesome. And I get the commitment to Dame. I do. I'm not mad about it. But you are talking about threading such a narrow needle with, we're going to trade Scoot for, even let's say 3 years of Dame and Jaylen Brown. And that's awesome. That's great. I love it. If you got 3 years of peak Dame left, which we just don't know, but okay, let's trust the guy and say yes. You got 3 years with two guys who are awesome. Or you have this longer runway on rookie scale deals with two guys who you think are awesome, and you're not trading all your other assets. There's just a really credible argument to go that way. I just don't think the Blazers will, and I don't think they are really even open to it. So that's just the way it is.
Okay. It's a fascinating discussion. Just like with the Jody Allen thing, we don't know what the number is. In this case, we don't know what they're getting for this pick, right? If you're getting OG Anunoby, I'm like, I will join you in a cold call and fire everybody, right? Like you're all crazy. But they can get a legitimate all-star and it legitimately makes the Blazers a threat for the next 3 years. That's more valuable, I think. And again, legit threat, not 6 I mean, you put together a roster where pretty much every university is like, okay, this is one of the top two teams in the West, which I think is very attainable to do because a lot of the top teams in the West, I mean, everyone's so flawed right now. There's no super team out there that's insurmountable. And you got aging stars like LeBron, Durant, and Curry. So if they can make that type of deal, then yes, I'm taking 3 years of trying to contend over this alleged 10 or 12 year runaway with these two guys when the history of the NBA tells us that any type of long runaway with a bunch of young players most of the time doesn't work out. Someone's not going to develop. Someone's going to get in trouble. Someone's going to get injured. Someone's going to ask for a trade. It's almost inevitable that that's how it's going to work out. The odds of Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp leading the Blazers to a title anytime in the next 10 years is not very good for a lot of different reasons because they're still going to probably need some help, and help doesn't usually come to Portland. But maybe if Phil Knight owns a team, that changes that. So I would take 3 years of trying to contend and the future be damned all day long if the trade is legit and you can actually contend. I'm not going to do it for just a little bit better. The idea that Scoot could come in right now and start next to Dame, to me, makes zero sense. I don't believe for a second that Damian believes that. The last thing Damian wants is a little kid next to him. Shaden wasn't ready last year. And Shaden, I know, was a 7th pick, and I guess, Scoot's a higher rated recruit. But had Shaden gone and played at all, other than sitting on the bench in Kentucky not playing at all, I think he would have been a higher pick. I think we all see what his value is and what his potential is. I don't believe that Scoot comes in and beats out Anthony. I don't believe that Scoot comes in and beats out Shaden in year one. He's way too raw. The dude's shooting 27% on threes. And I don't care about his distribution because he's not coming in to play point guard. Dame's the point guard. So having him play the 2 guard, a 6'2" guy who can't shoot, you're losing a lot. And that's not what Dame's signing up for. So if they bring in Scoot and they don't make significant other moves, Dame's going to ask out anyway, which sounds like something that you wouldn't mind because then, and I'm not disagreeing with you, that this would be an attractive situation. You trade Dame for a good young player, some assets. If it's Jaylen Brown, if you can get Jaylen Brown, great. And you move forward with Ant, Scoot, Shaden Sharp, whatever young player you get. You probably get some picks for Dame as well. You're going to stink. Next year, you're going to get another lottery pick. Boom, you're off and running with a lot of young assets. That's attractive. But I think the goal should be to get whatever you can get for him that makes you a contender now, because it's difficult to be in a position to have 2 All-Stars. And if they can have 2 All-Stars for even 3 years of Dame still being elite, that's more valuable to me than banking on a bunch of young kids and how good they're going to be 4, 5, 7, 8 years down the road.
I mean, that is the existential question of the Trailblazers. And I think the Blazers agree with you. I don't entirely disagree with you.
Boo! No, I'm
in
kidding.
Terms of like smartly managing a franchise, I do think that, maximizing your flexibility, opening the window as wide as possible is the smartest way to operate. And
but they've been doing that forever.
The assets they have, the picks that they have coming. No, they haven't, dude. They've been trying to win with Dame forever. And like, that's okay. That's okay. You've had a once in a however long star, but he's getting older. The contract is getting pretty hard to work with. There is, I mean, again, I'm not trade Dame. That's not where I'm at. But I look at the crossroads they're at, and I think it's really tricky. And I think that we might look back on this moment and say that, yeah, they should have traded Dame. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a wuss on this, but like, I don't think
you are at all. It's scary. You're right. But we can also point to a lot of examples where doing what you're suggesting they should do has blown up in franchises. Just this one alone. I mean, they had 3 young stars and looked like they were going to rattle out titles, and 2 got injured.
Sure.
And 1 left. It didn't work. Like there was no way on paper in 2007 that anyone didn't think that Roy, Aldridge, and Oden were going to stack titles. The Philadelphia 76ers, how many number 1 picks they have?
No,
what's Ben Simmons?
I hear you, Aaron. Like, I know that like there's
I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
Sure things.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong.
The other way either. There's no sure thing going the other way. But here's what I'd say. If you do the Dame and whoever else you're getting back into the deal for the 3rd pick and whatever else you're sending out to make it happen, you have played your one card. And because then you're basically you're fully committed to that path, and there aren't outs.
Well,
if you go the other way,
but they're going to keep Sharp.
You have outs,
but they're going to keep Sharp. So you still have one.
Most likely,
right? So if Sharp goes and a number 3 pick, they're winning back to back titles. As far as I'm concerned, you better be bringing in that level of talent to where it's like these guys are about to just contend easily if you're trading Sharp, because Sharp's only involved if I'm getting Brown, if I'm getting Embiid, something like that. You agree on that? Like anything involving Sharp has to bring back Devin Booker, has to bring back something pretty impressive.
Yeah. I don't know that so you would trade Sharp, Simons, and the 3 for Jaylen Brown, which is something I would probably I wouldn't do that. I'm saying you get something for you have 3 main assets. If I'm trading all 3 of these assets, number 3, Ant and Sharp, I'm getting back 2 players of significance. Or the only one I would trade all 3 for would be Embiid. So I'm getting 2 back. I'm trading Ant number 3 and 1, or 3 and number 3 for 1, and Shaden and Ant for the other. Like whatever combination you work out. I'm not trading all 3 for 1 dude. I'm getting back 2 dudes of varying degrees. One might be an all-star. The next guy might be just a really good veteran player, like Grant's level. So no, I got Dame, I got the all-star, I got Grant, and I got that other player, whoever it is. Like it has to be that kind of deal to where they're just stacked. And
otherwise I'm keeping Shaden.
I hope that's what happens. It's good for everybody if the Blazers are good. Like it's good for the city. It's good. It'd be great to see a parade, down Broadway for the first time in 45 years or whatever we're at. Like I all that would be great. I'm just really not seeing it with that path, but I mean, I would be happy to be wrong.
I'm with you.
Listen, we can keep repeating ourselves this summer, but this summer.
Yeah, but it's hard to. So you're saying they're just not going to pull off any deals of significance? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they might. I mean, like, what do I know? Jody Allen hasn't gotten me my time machine yet. I don't know. But
well, you just said you didn't see it happening. Okay, that's okay. So you're not seeing. Okay, so and we agree if they can't make major deals that make them a contender, then by all means, it's time to move Dame. And Dame agrees with that, and I think the Blazers agree with that. I think whatever deal they try and make, they're going to have to run it by Dame and say, "Look, Dame, here's what we can do. What do you think?" And if Dame says, "Man, we can't win with that," then boom, you got to trade Dame. But if they're all in agreement that yeah, we can contend. We got OG and we got Jaylen Brown. Done. Let's go. We can win with that. Oh well, Scoot, bye. Oh well, Ant, bye. Even Shaden. Oh well. Okay, let's move forward with this. And those three will go off in the wind somewhere, and we'll see where they're going to be. We don't know. I mean, we don't know how good they're all going to be good. Does that mean they're going to be winning good? We don't know. But you know, if I'm contending for a title the next 3 years when my franchise hasn't won a championship in 40 plus years, that's the card I'm playing. You would agree with that, right? If they could put together a win now legit roster where instead of you're there by my side every freaking night because we're covering a contender, would you be with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you got a team that you can build that is going to be I think you do it to be a top half of the Western Conference team.
Top half of the Western Conference?
I think that is
top half of the Western Conference?
Yeah, top half, a top 4 seed.
Top 4 seed.
Top half of the playoffs is what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Sorry, to me, if I trade all three, I'm top 2, top 3.
I mean,
4 isn't enough for me. I
just think there's too much parity to be able. I just don't think you can.
I
mean, you can't even differentiate what 1 through 6 is going into the season. Like they're all the same. So give me something that tells me that you're a little bit. You're better than the. You're better than the Lakers. You're better than the Clippers. You're better than the Kings. Like get in that tier right below Denver, or where you have an argument to be in the tier with Denver, and then it's worth it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sports by Northwest podcast. We also recorded another podcast where we discuss whether or not Jody Allen should sell the team to Phil Knight and when, and for how much. That was a pretty intense discussion as well at some points. Be sure to check that out. And I said at the beginning of this, tell us what you think about our opinions on Scoot Henderson. Well, you can do just that by participating in our subtext campaign. All you have to do is text 503-386-0095 to start your 14-day trial where you can receive texts from Bill and myself with links to articles, with takes on what's going on in sports, and you can respond to them and let us know, what you think, and we'll respond back. That number again is 503-386-0095. Thanks for listening, and please give us a 5-star positive feedback and click that subscribe button. Thanks.